Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to today's practice. If you have a couple hard blocks, they will likely come in handy today. Also, a soft block, anything else that you like to have around, go for it. If you like to have a bolster, a blanket. And I'll invite you to get started on the back today. We'll take a restorative butterfly shape. If there's for any reason you'd rather start in a seat, then go for it. You can do cross-legged, you can do seated butterfly instead. If you are coming down to the back, then take a moment to get comfortable. We'll take the soles of the feet together, the knees wide apart. And then sometimes it's nice to support the legs here if you like to use your blocks, one under each knee or each hip. You can also choose where you want to have the feet relative to the pelvis, maybe a little further away or a little bit closer. See what feels best, see what feels most comfortable. And then see if there's anywhere else that needs a little support. Maybe the low back needs a little cushioning, something for the head. Find a comfortable spot for the arms. And then if it feels okay to close down the eyes, go for it. Notice the body here, and if anything feels a little fidgety, feel free to give yourself some movement to help you settle in after. And then as you settle into your shape, start to notice the body. Take a scan from the feet to the head and check in. And check in with your headspace and see what that feels like. And check in with your breathing. Notice the quality of your inhales and exhales. Notice where the mind is at, and if it's started to wander, gently guide it back to your breath, back to your body. And as you feel ready to, gently start to deepen the breath here. As the breath deepens, starting to explore a sense of space in the body each time you inhale, and each time you exhale, grounding, softening here. And as always, please check in and see what would benefit you the most from your practice today. If you're happy exactly as you are and you want to stay in stillness a little while longer, if you're looking for something a little bit stronger, a little sweatier, you're also welcome to add on to your practice. Please make it whatever you need it to be for today. When you do feel ready to move the body, bring one hand to the heart space and the other hand on top. We'll start today's practice with 3 cleansing breaths. So as you feel ready, take a deep inhale through the nose and the side out the mouth. And twice more, deep in. Last one, noisy one. And then as you feel ready to reach down, collect the knees in together. You can move any props out of the way and set the feet a little bit wider apart and
Gently start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Awesome. And then the next time both knees come down to the right hand side, pause there. If for any reason the shape doesn't work for you, take a two-knee twist instead. If you'd like a little more sensation here, maybe the right ankle, place it on top of the left knee. And then breathe into that left side body stretch. Any arm expression you'd like to add, taking the arms overhead might feel nice. Maybe cactus or hands can find each other. And if the right ankle is lifted, bring it back down to the floor. Inhale, breath, lift the knees to center. And then switch to your second side, knees down towards the left, whichever expression of a twist works best. And if you just on the first side, left ankle over right knee here. Noticing where you're feeling through the right side, a few deep breaths. And the left foot finds the floor. Lift the knees with an inhale, windshield wiper a couple of times just to release. And then when you're ready, collect your knees into the chest. Take the arms around the knees and give yourself a squeeze. Maybe lift head and shoulders as well. Roll into a ball. Give yourself a gentle rock side to side. Awesome. And then lower the head back down. I like to bring the palms flat to the floor, just underneath the hips for a little extra support here. And then we'll play with extending the legs. So choose an angle that works with your body. So if you'd rather be extending straight up towards the ceiling, go for it. That might be a little gentler for the low back. If you want more challenge, you might be skimming heels to the floor. I'm going to be working somewhere in between the two. And when you're ready, take a deep inhale. And then exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. And exhale. A couple more times. See if you can slow it down and match it to your breath. Last two. And once you complete your last one, collect the knees into the chest once again. And give yourself that hug, that rock side to side. Awesome. And then when you're ready, hands under the knees, rock up and down the spine a couple of times, massaging out the back, mindful of the neck. And then when you're ready, build up some momentum, come up to a seat, and then straight away we'll swing the legs around and lower down onto the belly. And once you arrive on your belly, we'll set up a Sphinx pose, so elbows roughly underneath the shoulders. Find a version of this that feels comfortable. So if it feels like too much of a back bend for right now, maybe walk the hands forward a little bit so you can dip a little lower in. And check in with the legs. And if it feels okay to let the heels kind of go soft a little bit, let them flop as they like. And then see what you want for head and neck. If you want the gaze lifted slightly, that might offer a stretch for the throat. You could also do neck neutral or let the head hang heavy if that offers a nice stretch for the neck. Mindful that the low back stays quiet, and if it feels okay to close down the eyes, go for it. Breathe into your shape.
Last couple of deep breaths, but you can always lower sooner if you need to. And as you're ready, take the elbows wide, gently lower the chest to the floor. Maybe stack palms under the forehead, or if you like to turn the head to one side. And from here, we'll take a half frog pose. So slide your right knee up towards the right hand side. And think of tree pose. And then see what you want to do with the right foot. You could have it close to the left leg, similar to tree. You might also explore maybe having that shin parallel to the long edge of the mat. You could also take the right foot a little further to the right. See what feels best for the hip. If you have the head turned to one side, switch it to the other, and likewise with the legs. If you chose the half frog expression, then set up for your second side. This side may feel a little different, so you don't have to mirror the first side exactly, but find something that feels similar for the body. When you're ready, re-extending the left leg as well. Bring the hands under the shoulders and press yourself up to a tabletop position. Set the hands up roughly underneath the shoulders. You can work with palms flat. If it's better for you to work from fists, go for it. You could also take a block in each hand. Now take a moment to lengthen from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Find a gentle tone to the belly. Pubic bone draws towards the belly button. We'll keep the left leg grounded to begin with, and we'll work with just the right. So press down through the hands and through the left knee. Hover the right shin off of the floor. And then with an inhale breath, open that right knee directly to the right. As you exhale, bring it back. And then 4 more. Awesome. Once you complete your last one, lower the right knee down. If anything needs a little break or shake out, go for it. And we'll set up for the second side. So ground down hands and right knee as you inhale, left knee out to the left. And exhale, center. And 4 more. Awesome. Coming back to center. Now we'll just give the wrists a moment to release. So bring the back of the hand to the floor. And without putting too much weight down, imagine that you're trying to drag the hand forward towards the top of the mat. It might give you a nice sensation through the outside of the wrist. And then second side. And then set both hands to the floor. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Gently grip the finger pads into the mat. And then from here, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and we'll find downward facing dog. So keep pressing the floor away with the hands. Find the distance between your feet that feels stable for today. And then maybe you'll pedal the heels a little bit, maybe sway the hips side to side. Any movement that helps you set up your shape. Notice what feels comfortable with the head, maybe letting it hang heavy, gaze somewhere near the feet. When you feel ready, you start to find your stillness in the shape. If you like to keep a gentle bend to the knees, go for it, especially if that helps encourage a heaviness through the spine. And then together we'll take a deep inhale here, deep sigh. Twice more in. Last one. Now bend your knees, look forward as you inhale, and as you exhale, step, walk, or hop. Find your forward fold at the top of the mat.
Once again, set the feet whatever distance apart feels the most stable. Maybe keep a gentle or generous bend to the knees. Let the spine be heavy. Hands to opposite elbows might feel nice. If you like a little weight at the top of the spine, maybe earmuffs with the hands, or you can interlace behind the skull. And then here, a little sway might feel nice side to side, or rocking with the hips. Maybe bending one knee a little bit more, stretching the opposite leg. Awesome. And then as you're ready, let go of your arm expression. Take an inhale. Find your halfway lift. Lengthen. And sigh. Again, in. And out. Last one. Now inhale, halfway lift. And then plant your palms. Step back to downward facing dog. So from your down dog, take your inhale breath and shift forward to plank pose. As you exhale, take the knees wide and set the hips back for a squat. And then inhale to plank. Into your squat as you exhale. You'll find a range of motion that feels good, and we'll take 7 more rounds with your breath. Once you finish your last round, and coming back to downward facing dog, and then inhale forward to plank. And this time lower all the way down to the floor. You can use the knees for support. And once you arrive, untuck the toes and set the hands forward and slightly to the side. Fingertips, palms flat or blocks. With an inhale, peel the chest up, strange cobra, and then dip the right shoulder, twist left. Inhale, center, and second side. One more each. Last time to inhale, and lower down. Hands under the shoulders, tabletop as you inhale, and downward facing dog as you exhale. I forgot to say, if you are using props today, please have your hard blocks, at least one of them near the top of the mat, and that way they'll be handy for where we're going next. When you're ready, come back to your downward facing dog. With an inhale breath, lift the left leg up behind you, and then left knee towards left elbow as you exhale. A couple more. Inhale, and left knee towards the nose this time. Last one. Inhale. Now left knee across the body towards the right elbow. Inhale, send it back. And now exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. And we'll spin the right heel, right toes pointing towards the right. Now stay low, find a block, and you can place it on the inside of that right foot, any height setting. And then from here, ground down through the left hand and start to reach the right arm towards the ceiling for an extended side angle variation. Now check in with your shape, right arm either reaching up or towards the front. Find that long line from the right heel to the crown of the head. If it feels okay to close down the eyes, go for it, otherwise steady gaze. And then breathe here. Awesome. Gaze towards the floor for balance, maybe right hand to the right hip. With an inhale breath, keep the bend to the left knee, but come all the way up in reverse. And then pause here, maybe bend a little deeper. To triangle, inhale, extend the front leg all the way towards straight. And then as you exhale, come up, forward, and then hinge. Left hand back to your prop or to the shin, floor, maybe a different height setting. And then notice that top shoulder. See with an inhale if you can roll it up, back, and down. Give your chest as much room as you can. And then if you like, right arm can reach up. Imagine fingertips reaching apart from one another. And gaze towards the floor, the side, the ceiling, maybe eyes closed down.
Notice the soles of the feet here and keep them actively pressing down. For the last couple breaths, if you want more challenge, maybe that left hand gets a little lighter on its support. Awesome. If the left hand's lifted, lower it and take an inhale breath. Reach the right arm towards the front of the room and then turn the chest to the floor. Bend the left knee, lift the right heel, and lower the right knee to the floor. And start to heel toe the left foot to the left. Setting up a lizard lunge so left toes can point forward here or out on an angle. See what feels best for knee, for hip. Awesome. And then you can stay here, maybe hands to the floor. Maybe you have a little room to dip the chest down. You could walk the hands forward. Or if you like, maybe one elbow or both to the floor. And you have your props nearby if you want to bring the floor a little closer. Now check in with the left knee, left ankle. Make sure that they still feel okay here. Sometimes flexing the left toes up off the floor can help support the knee a little better. And if you want to power up your shape, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Almost like a forearm plank. Find that length from the right heel to the crown of the head. Awesome. If you're on the elbows, if the back knee's lifted, lower it first, and then walk the hands back in underneath the shoulders. Now from here, lift the back knee with an inhale, and as you exhale, step the right foot outside of the right hand, and lower the hips for a squat pose. Now hands don't have to leave the floor here. Lots of ways to modify as well. You could use your blocks, make yourself a seat. If you like to bring hands to prayer, go for it, or maybe you want the backs of the hands together, give the wrists a stretch. Now find that length from the tailbone to the crown of the head. If the shoulders are shrugging, maybe soften them. And take a few deep breaths here, maybe closing down the eyes. If the eyes are closed, start them open. Give the hands a little shake out. And then bring one hand behind you, then the other will lower the bum to the floor. Now from here, windshield wiper might feel nice for a moment. And then we'll set up for a boat pose. So bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Awesome. And then maybe scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way. You can start with hands to the knees or behind them. Maybe a slight lean back. You can come up onto tippy toes. Maybe you're lifting the legs up off the floor. And then one option is to choose stillness here. Maybe you're closing down the eyes, working with the breath, working on that length from the tailbone to the crown. If you like to release the hands for more challenge, go for it. And one final option, take your inhale, bring the knees a little closer. As you exhale, a little further. And then a few more if you're flowing. Strong breath, embrace the wobbles. Last 3. Awesome. Inhale, knees in, and lower the feet, chest to the thighs, head hangs heavy, arms around the legs. And give yourself a pause, a gentle rock side to side. And see if you'd benefit from a little more time in the shape, or maybe there's a different quiet shape you'd like to visit. And in about 5 breaths, we'll meet back in downward facing dog. You can transition there any way you like, and if there's anything you need to do along the way, go for it.
Setting up your downward facing dog, press the hands, the feet to the floor, deep inhale, and sigh. Once more. Now inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, leg back, and knee to nose. Last one, inhale, right knee to left elbow. Now inhale back, and step the right foot all the way through between the hands. Spin the left heel down, left toes point left. Find your prop, right hand to the inside of the right foot. Press the right hand down, reach the left arm up as you open the chest towards the sidewall. Now once again, that length from the grounded left heel to the crown of the head. Left arm up to the front, maybe a different option. Now breathe into the space across the chest here. Keep the feet actively pressing down to the floor. Maybe close down the eyes and challenge balance. Then left hand finds the left hip, maybe gaze to the floor. Inhale, breath, come all the way up, reverse warrior. Stay, bend the right knee a little deeper. Now for that triangle transition, inhale, extend the front leg. And as you exhale, come all the way up, reach forward and then hinge. Right hand, shin, block, floor. Left hand, hip, maybe ceiling. The feet keep pressing the floor away. Keep breathing that length, tailbone to crown. Space for the shoulders here. Gaze wherever feels most comfortable. Last couple breaths. If you did so on the first side, maybe right hand gets a little lighter. Any expression you like here. Right hand lowers, inhale, left arm towards the front, and then turn your chest down, lift the back heel, bend the front knee. As you lower the back knee down, heel toe the right foot to the right, and setting up your lizard lunge, you might shift the left knee a little further back, you might pad it, and then see what this side feels like, maybe a wiggle of the hips, maybe walking the hands forward, tipping the chest, one elbow, both to the floor. And settling yourself in, making sure, especially right ankle, knee, hip, all still feel comfortable. If you took the option to lift the back knee on the first side, then do the same here as well. And keep breathing. Soften the jaw, the forehead if they're clenching. Awesome. If the back knee's lifted, lower, and then bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. And lift the back knee up, take an inhale breath, and then left foot steps outside the left hand, squat pose, second round. Now settle into the hips here, find your version of the shape, whatever arm expression you like, and then if it's okay to close down the eyes, go for it. Quiet down the breath, notice the body, notice your headspace here. We'll come out a little bit differently for this round. We're going to head up to stand. So you can either bring your hands down to the floor, come through a forward fold, and then come up. Or if you're ready to come straight from your squat, press the feet down, and then with an inhale breath, come all the way up. Either way, when you arrive, if you feel lightheaded, reach the arms up to the ceiling for a couple of breaths, and step your feet to their comfortable hip distance.
And when you're ready, you release your arms down to your sides. Now wiggle the fingers and the toes and set yourself up, mountain pose. Feet are grounded, chest is proud, shoulders soft. Maybe palms open to the front, maybe eyes closed down. And then when you feel ready, we'll sit up for balance. So if you'd rather be closer to a wall, then go for it. Otherwise, from your mat, we'll keep the left foot grounded to begin with. So spread the left toes out, lower them with a little distance. And then when you're ready, you lift the right knee up to center. Now find a gaze point to keep you steady. You can point the toes down or flex the foot one way or another, keep the leg engaged. And then with an inhale, open the right knee directly towards the right. Now once again, toes pointed down or flexed. This version of tree, we're not going to connect the right foot to the inside of the left leg, so just relying on the bum muscles to hold the leg up here. Now hands can come to prayer if you like. If you like something a little bit more for the body, make sure you have room, and we'll actually cactus the arms here. Now notice where your weight is, where your balance is. If things are wobbling, that's fine. Just keep breathing, whatever you're doing. If you're looking to add a little bit more still, take an inhale, reach the arms up, and then cactus as you exhale. Now 2 more, in and out. Last one. Now keep the arms in cactus. Inhale, lift the right knee back to center. Now wrap the right leg around the left for your eagle legs. Bend the standing leg, stick the bum back slightly. Now hands don't have to be in cactus here. You can bring them back to prayer. Right foot can float. You can touch the toes down. You can do the double loop if you have space. For eagle arms, take your inhale. And then take the left arm underneath the right, crossing at the elbows. Take the hands to the shoulders. And then maybe walk the fingertips back so you can catch hold of the shoulder blades here. Now if you like to bend a little deeper to the standing leg, go for it. And now breathe into that space between the shoulder blades. Keep the back of the neck long. All right, unravel the hands. Inhale, breath, come up, bring the knee with you. And then big step back with that right foot. Now set up the lunge shape. And we're going to lower the right knee down, but we'll do it really slowly. So move as slow as you can. Take a deep inhale. And then slowly start to bend and lower for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And touch down. Bring the fingertips to the floor. You might need to change the proportions of your shape. If you want to lengthen it a little, go for it. If you want to pad the back knee, go for it as well. Now bring your hands maybe to blocks or fingertips down. Start to lean the pelvis forward in space. Look for a stretch through the top hip flexor on the right side. The upper body can be doing whatever you want it to do. Awesome. If you have room to take the right knee a little further back and would like to, go for it. Now take an inhale breath here, peel the chest open, lift the gaze up. And then as you exhale, shift the hips back, half split pose, and we'll pause into it. So I keep the left leg active here, heel down, toes towards the shin. If you like to bring your blocks a little closer, go for it. Maybe you prefer to have the torso lifted more upright. If you want to hinge and fold over the leg, go for it. If you want to pulse gently here, manual adjustment will be left thumb to the left hip crease. You can manually press it back in space, encouraging that length. And then breathe here. Don't worry too much about what the shape looks like. As you feel ready, and start to walk the hands back in front, coming to your lunge. Lift the back knee up with an inhale. Step forward, forward fold as you exhale. Now choose any version of a forward fold. If you'd rather be in a squat, go for it. And if you'd rather come straight to standing, go for it. We'll rest for about 8 breaths before we set up the second round. shape you're resting in. And think of a transition up to standing whenever you feel ready. And as you find your mountain pose, check in with the body, find your breath. And we'll set up the second side, so make sure you have room here. And spread the right toes out, lower them down. And you transfer the weight to the right foot, lift the left knee to center, and then point the toes or flex the foot. Find that balance with the hips. Find your gaze point, and with an inhale breath, open the left knee out to the left. Now notice, without the leverage of the foot to the inner leg, the knee might not be all the way to the left, and that's fine. Just be within whatever range of motion your body can handle over here. And then see where you want the hands, hips, prayer. If you're adding the cactus, find it, and then deep inhale, reach up. And cactus, exhale. A couple more. Last one. Now hold your cactus, inhale, left knee to center, a left thigh around the right, then the right knee for eagle legs. Now toes can touch, float, or double loop. Deep inhale, chest open, and this time right underneath left, cross at the elbows, hands to the shoulders. Maybe you can walk the fingertips back and catch the shoulder blades. Find a depth that feels appropriate, easier to balance. The deeper you go, more work for the legs, so find something in between, and then breathe here. And soften anything you don't need. Hands to prayer. Inhale, breath, come all the way up, bring the knee width. And then big step back with the left foot, find your high lunge. And preparing to lower the back knees slowly, take a deep inhale. And lower for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hand touch down. Hands to blocks, your fingertips to floor. Set yourself up, maybe right foot forward a little, or left knee back. Maybe you're patting the left knee. And then let the pelvis get heavy here, looking for that stretch to the top of the left leg through the hip flexor. Awesome. If there's anything you need to adjust, then go for it. And take an inhale breath, puff the chest up here, and then hips back for your half split pose. Right heel is pressing down, right toes towards the ceiling or curling towards the shin. And again, find a depth for the torso that feels good for the spine. Check in with the low back. Maybe this side you need to take a slightly different expression to the first. The right knee can also bend as much as you need. Right thumb to the right hip crease if you want to give yourself that same adjustment. And then breathe into whatever you're feeling. You can always add a pulse or something with a breath to help soften if it feels too intense. And the last couple breaths. And when you do feel ready, walking the hands forward, bending the right knee. And this time a little different. Bring the hands down, step the right knee back to join the left, and press the hips back for child's pose. You can take the knees wide or keep them together. You can add whichever arm expression you like. Maybe a little rock for the body. You can stay in rest as long as you like. And when you're ready, come and find a kneeling position for your rock pose. Make it comfortable. If being on the knees doesn't work, then maybe find a seat or you can add height. So working with a few different parts of the body today, building up potentially to crow pose. So if you'd like to play around with the arm balance, I'm going to talk through that now, and I'll give a few different options. If you'd rather sit out in arm balance, then alternative poses might be coming to a squat. If you want something that's still active, it'll be similar shape for the body. You could also come onto the back and take a happy baby if you wanted something more restful, and you could also take butterfly like we started off. So I'm going to demo one kind of main variation to crow, and I'll try to put a couple other ones as examples as well. If you like to have props nearby, I will show a version that uses props as well, maybe a little easier to get in and out. But start off by bringing the hands to the floor, and then just like those plank squats, take the knees nice and wide, bring the hips towards the heels, and we'll start off here. So starting in a toe squat, I set the hands to the floor, spread the fingers nice and wide, and then really actively grip the finger pads into the floor, and keep doing that clawing action as you come in and out of the pose. It'll help keep the wrist stable, keep the forearm muscles engaged as well. So from here, press the feet to the floor, lift the hips nice and high, and then we'll bring the knees and try to hook them somewhere in the upper arm area. So for some people, it might be a little closer to the elbow. Some people, it might be closer to their shoulder. There's not a right or wrong, but eventually we're going to bend the elbows a little bit, so you're trying to rest on a little shelf that you're making there. Hands to the floor, hips nice and high. Hook the knees to the elbows, and then really press the knees into the elbows. Almost press the elbows back into the knees. Now bring the gaze forward. The tendency might be to look back, but that's a great way for it to do a somersault, which is not what we're trying to do here. So keep the hands pressing to the floor. If the elbows are trying to separate, keep hugging them together. Now look forward in space and lean forward. Feel the feet get a little lighter. And maybe you're on tippy toe. Maybe you can lift one set up, alternate. Maybe you want to come back, reset the hands. Really take your time to get in and out of the shape. If you do feel ready to explore launching, then keep bringing the weight forward a little bit. Maybe eventually the feet lift, and you can start to hug the heels in towards the bum. And then even here, you can play with extending the arms a little bit or bending them deeper, see what works. And then whatever your expression looks like, make sure that you're breathing while you're in it. Talking and doing it is very challenging. Anyway, feel free to play around. Take as long as you need. You can always come to squat, butterfly, any of the other shapes. Awesome. And if you were playing around, take your time. You can do as much as you like. Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll take a counter stretch, and that's going to be puppy dog pose. So come down to a tabletop position, giving the chest and shoulders a slightly different shape. We'll walk the hands forward and then dip the chest in towards the floor. That might feel nice. It might even feel a stretch through the armpit here. If you like to add a little more support, if the floor feels far away, you could rest the forehead down, maybe the chest. You can also slide a block in to bring them a little bit closer. When you're ready to come out, hands under the shoulders, come back in. And spreading the fingers, tucking the toes, lifting the hips up and back in space, and pedaling the heels a little bit. And from here, we'll set pigeon pose. So with an inhale, lift the left leg up behind you. As you exhale, guide the left knee just behind the left wrist. Left foot over to the right, and then lower the right knee down. Now I like to shift the right knee a little further back in space, but find an angle with that left shin that works for you. So for me, it's not quite parallel to the top edge or the side edge, something in between. For other people, that left foot will be further up or further down. And then check in with the hips. See if it feels like you're kind of listing a little bit to one side. You might choose to support the side that it feels like you're leaning towards. And then one option would be to stay upright, or if you do like to come to a fold, walk the hands forward in space and dip the chest to the floor. Maybe you end up on forearms, maybe it's chest or forehead to the floor. And wherever you end up, check in. Notice what the body feels like. Notice what the breath is like. Is it easeful or choppy? Make sure it feels like a pain-free expression. Last 5 or so breaths here. Listen to your body if you need to come out sooner. When you are ready to come out, bring the hands roughly under the shoulders. You can come out either to a 3-legged tabletop or a 3-legged dog. So maybe bring the right knee closer first, and we'll send the left leg to the air behind, maybe a few circles for the hip. You can bend and extend. And then when you're ready, coming back to downward facing dog. We'll set up the second side. Inhale the right leg, and exhale, right knee behind the right wrist, right foot to the left knee lowers. Left knee back, all the same steps to set yourself up. So check in to see what the hip feels like this side, knee, ankle, adding support wherever you need using whatever props. I will demo a couple alternative shapes as well. I'll try to put little bubble windows. So if for any reason this shape doesn't work for you, feel free to change it up. And when you're ready, staying upright or walking the hands forward, gently folding over the leg. Last few deep breaths here. You're ready, slowly lifting yourself back up, walking the hands back in. Left knee a little bit closer, and then choose 3-legged tabletop, 3-legged dog. And give that right hip a little movement, a few circles, bend and extend the leg. Awesome, and then as you're ready, lower all the way down to the belly. And then flip yourself onto your back. Once you arrive on your back, make sure you have room. We're going to to set up for a back bend, so if you like to have your blocks nearby, go for it. We'll set for bridge pose if you want something more restorative, or I'll talk through the more active shape. So walk the feet in a little bit closer, they're roughly underneath the knees. That'll be the more supportive place for them. And then for your arms, maybe robot arms, so elbows by the ribs, fingers towards the ceiling. Now press the hands and the feet to the floor. With an inhale breath, lift the hips up any amount. And then pause. You can stay. You can reach the arms down. If you like a little more stretch through the chest, maybe you're walking the shoulders together. Maybe the hands can interlace. And keep pressing the shoulders and the feet down to the floor, lifting the pelvis up. And if the windpipe feels at all restricted, maybe chin a little more towards the ceiling. Give yourself more room to breathe. Always a pain-free expression. If there is pinching in the knees, you could try the shape from tippy toes, but you could also come down sooner if that's what you need. Last few deep breaths here. Awesome. If the hands are interlaced, release them first. Release the shoulders, and then slowly sequence the spine back down to the floor. And then pause when you arrive. Take the feet a little wider. Rest the knees together. Maybe hands on the body. And just breathe here. And we'll set up for one more round of bridge pose. So your choice, if when the hips come up you want to use blocks under the bum and take a restorative shape, go for it. Otherwise, coming back to set up exactly the same way. And find your foundation, shoulders, feet grounded. And then with an inhale breath, lift the hips up. And again, you can stay at the arm expression that feels best here. And keep the feet pressing down, the shoulders are grounded. And a few deep breaths into that front body. And you might choose to stay for up to 4 more breaths, but when you feel ready to, gently exit out of the pose. Once again, pausing once the spine is settled down, feet wide, knees together, hands on the body or beside it. Close down the eyes, breathe here. Awesome. When you're ready, you flutter open the eyes. Walk the feet back in. Now a little bit different. Bring the hands to the floor and then lift the bum just enough that you can slide the hands underneath, palms facing down. Lower the pelvis down. We'll play around with the proportions, but extend the legs long down the mat. We're going to set up fish pose here. So if you're not familiar, maybe you want to watch and then join in after. Gently with back bends, try not to turn the head too much from side to side as you're in them, or try not to turn the head at all while you're in them. And from here, start off by pressing the heels down, pressing the bum down, and then arch the back so that you can start to walk the elbows a little closer. They're almost underneath you. And now from here, start to press the elbows to the floor and peel the center of the chest up and open. Now this will look a little different. For some people, the head stays on the floor. Maybe it's the back of the head. If you do have the head on the floor,
just make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on it and make sure that the neck stays comfortable. And keep pressing the elbows down. If your head is floating, that's fine too. You could find neutral neck or chin towards the chest, or let it hang heavy. And take a few deep breaths here. Breathe into that front line of the body. Breathe that space across the chest, across the collarbones. Last couple, but you can always come out sooner. Awesome. Slowly lower back down and release the legs. Just pause for a few breaths, Shavasana-like shape. Release the arms and the legs, get the fingers and the toes, a little wiggle. Notice the body, notice what the after effect might be from the back bends. Find your breath. Notice your head space. Awesome. As you feel ready to move again, you really don't have to. If you want to stay on your back and go straight to Shavasana, go for it. But we will do some twists before heading there otherwise. So we'll walk the feet in roughly underneath the knees. And pretty simple, take the hips over to the right a few inches, and then lower both knees down towards the left. This is a little tricky with my microphone pack, but if you do want to block between the knees or underneath them, go for it. Find a version of this that feels really steady, really stable. Find the arm expression to match, maybe cactus the arms or arms overhead, hands somewhere on the body supporting yourself. For the last few breaths of the twist, you might take the head over to the left a few inches and then lower the gaze down towards the right. And if the head is turned to one side, gently bring it back to center. And with the belly tone, lift the knees back up to center. And then hips to midline, over to the left a few inches. And then knees down towards the right. And the same options for props, anything that you have around. Support yourself, make the shape feel comfortable. Find your arm expression and then quiet down. If you took the option on the first side, take the head to the right a few inches, lower the gaze towards the left.
and gently returns to center. One at a time or together, the knees lift back up. Scoot the hips back to midline. And then from here, extend the legs long down the mat. And then you can work with just the legs or take the arms long up the mat. Now start to walk the feet towards the bottom left corner, and then walk the arms towards the top left corner until you find a side stretch for the right side of the body. Arms and legs don't have to stay extended. If it feels better to bend the elbows, or if you need to bend a knee or something, go for it. If you like to cross right ankle over left, then that might add to the sensation. You might take right wrist over left as well. Head turn wherever feels most comfortable, and then breathe into that whole right side. Slowly walk everything back to center. The feet towards the bottom right of the mat, arms towards the top right. All the same options, maybe left ankle, left wrist over right. Head turned, arms extended, or bent elbows. Breathe into the whole left side. And as you feel ready to, releasing gently back to center. As you do, check in to see if there's any last quiet shape or movement that your body's asking for. Otherwise, if you feel ready for your rest pose, start to settle yourself into your Shavasana. For Shavasana, choose any comfortable, symmetrical shape for the body. And if for any reason being on your back doesn't feel good, feel free to rest from a seat instead. You could take legs up the wall. You could find child's pose. Find any quiet shape that you feel comfortable in. If you need to add layers or dim the lights or anything else for your environment to make it a little bit cozier, then go for it. And as you set yourself up, check in, see if anything feels a little fidgety. Maybe you need a little last movement or something to help you settle in. And the eyes don't have to close down. If you'd rather keep the eyes open, if it helps steady you in space and time, then soft gaze. If it feels okay to close the eyes, then go for it. Settling into the floor. Finding that heaviness, that grounding. And letting go here.
gently bring your attention back to the space, deepening your breath to reawaken the body. Give the head a gentle rock side to side. Move the hands and move the feet. When you feel ready, take the arms up overhead. Give yourself a full body stretch. Reach the fingers, reach the toes. Maybe a wiggle for hips or shoulders. Knees into the chest and wrap the arms around them. Lift head and shoulders, curl into that ball. Give yourself a hug and a rock side to side. And then rolling down to one side, finding a fetal position for a few deep breaths, letting the body settle. And using the support of the hands, gently coming up and finding any comfortable seated position. If you were resting in a seated position, then maybe change up the legs or find something else. And take your time to settle in, add any extra props that you need for hips. Ground down whatever's touching the floor and gently lengthen the spine. Keep the shoulders nice and soft. Last time, checking in with the body, with the mind, with the breath, and just noticing. Choose to leave the hands where they are, or bring one hand to the heart space and the other hand on top. We'll end today's practice with 3 cleansing breaths together. So take a deep inhale through the nose, deep sigh, and again. Last one, most dramatic. Bowing the chin to the chest. Thank you for sharing your breath in your practice today. Namaste. Thank you. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon.